The Jared Dillian Show.
I'm Jared Dillian. This is the Jared Dillian Show. If you want to call to talk about your money, please call 844-305-7800. That's 844-305-7800. This is the Jared Dillian Show. You can also go to my website, which is jareddillianmoney.com, and I do recommend you go there because we have some cool stuff, including the Bond Masterclass, which is a course on learning about bonds, which is also pretty cheap. And you can follow me on Twitter at DailyDirtNap. And I got to tell you, I think the one thing that people want to do when they start making money, when they get rich, quote unquote rich, the one thing people want to do when they get rich is they want to have a second home. For sure. Always happens. Happened to me in like early 2016. I wanted to get a place in Canada, in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and I had that dream for a while. And then I wanted to have a place in Miami. And, I've been around and around and around and around and around and around. I've thought about this a whole bunch of times. And the more I've been to Miami twice. Once in 2008 and once in like 2014 to look at property. And in both cases, if I bought a property, financially it would have worked out amazing. I would have made a lot of money, but every time I got close, I said to myself, am I really going to get on a plane and go here all the time? Am I really? Is that happening, or is this just a pipe dream? Let's take a call. Michelle from the West Coast. Michelle, how you doing?
Hi, Jared. I'm good. How are you?
Good.
I have a question for you that doesn't relate to the topic of the show, so I hope it's okay.
Sure.
But I'm wondering, what is a better use of extra money? Should I be paying down my mortgage, or should I be contributing to my retirement savings?
Yeah, that's well, it definitely pertains to the show. Well, the answer is you can do both at the same time, and there's some factors. And the main factor is what the interest rate on your mortgage is and how much debt you have left on that mortgage. If you have a lot of mortgage debt, you will want to meaningfully reduce it before you really think about contributing a lot for retirement. But then again, if you haven't saved much for retirement, then you'll want to take a break from paying down the mortgage. So it's just a balance. It's really a balance. The answer is you can do both at the same time. If you wanted to give me the specifics on your situation, I could give you a more concrete recommendation, but you can do both at the same time. Just for example, my last mortgage, I paid down pretty aggressively while I was contributing to my retirement fund and also non-retirement funds. I did both at the same time. So,
okay. Well, what we've been doing is over the last 3 years, we've been fairly aggressively paying down our mortgage. And so if we keep up with this plan we're on, in 3 more years, our house will be paid for. But we live in a market where real estate is, very high, and so our largest asset is our house. And it makes me wonder if we should be taking the lump sum payment that we're putting onto our mortgage and putting it into our retirement savings instead, and take 6 years to pay off our house.
Yeah,
just not sure what the right.
I don't know. I think you might be overthinking it a little bit. Here's so the piece of information you gave me that's crucial is you live in an area that has expensive real estate. So probably you have a lot of equity in your house already if you only have 3 years left to pay it down. So if you have a lot of equity in your house and the house is appreciated in value, then really what you have is a pretty high allocation to real estate as an asset class. So my guess is you have a 60 or 70% allocation to real estate, but only a 30% allocation to stocks and bonds. Is that right?
That's about right, yeah.
Yeah. So that is a pretty strong argument for taking a break from the mortgage and investing in your retirement funds. However, the other thing is that you also told me that you could be done in 3 years, and being that close to being done and having a house that's paid for, like there really is nothing better than living in a house that's just paid for. So once again, I don't have like a concrete answer. I can't say do this or do that. I think that would be irresponsible of me. But these are your concerns. I mean, one is you have a too heavy of an allocation to real estate, but number two, you could be done with your mortgage, which would be awesome. So
yeah, I know. I feel that way too. But
yeah.
Can I ask you another question?
Yep.
Do you think that somebody said to me recently, yeah, well, having a paid-for house is just like putting money in a mattress that doesn't do anything for you. And that got me thinking, too. It's a large allocation, a large asset, as you said, and a large allocation of our savings in an asset that isn't doing anything for us. Is that a problem? Do you see that as an issue? Because to me it feels like security. But
well, I mean, look, like owning a house, owning real estate, owning your primary residence doesn't pay you any income. Okay, it's not a bond. Yeah. It doesn't pay interest. It's not a stock. It doesn't pay a dividend. It's a different kind of asset. Even if you had a second home and you were renting it out, you could say it produced some kind of income. In fact, not only does it not produce income, it also kind of produces negative income because you have to pay for maintenance and upkeep. But you can't underestimate the importance of basically just the psychological security of living in a house that's paid for, that basically the only reason anybody could ever take it from you is if you don't pay the taxes. But it's yours, and nobody could ever take it away from you. And if you lost your job and your husband lost his job and everything went to hell, you would still have this house, and it's totally paid for. And you just can't put a price on that.
Okay, well, that's how I feel. So I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Yep. Yeah, it's good. We're actually talking about second homes, and second homes are just really, really tough because who's going to go there? You know what? I heard a great story about a second home recently. All my second home stories are bad. They're all bad. If somebody buys a second home and they never use it, then they sell it. Somebody buys a second home, they never use it, and they sell it. That's only one step better than buying a timeshare, which of course you can never sell. But there was a guy that I worked with, and he lived outside of Philadelphia, and his family had a pretty small house in the Poconos. It wasn't very expensive, and it was like a 1-hour drive. And they went there every weekend, and they got a lot of enjoyment out of it because it was easy to get to. So I guess, that's my tip on second homes is if it's easy to get to. I mean, look, if you have to fly someplace to go to a house, chances are you're not going to use it. So the house next door to us, there was a guy, he lived in Charleston, and he bought a house in my town, and it's like an 1.5-hour drive. And in the summer, like, he would come up pretty much all the time. It's an easy drive, like an 1.5 hours. If you got to fly to a second home, unless you're just like stupidly rich and you're like taking a private jet, then I guess then it makes sense. People do have multiple homes, but I'm going to tell you, for most people, like, second homes just do not work out. They really don't. Now, one thing that does work out is that people in Myrtle Beach, they're snowbirds. And so what snowbirds means is they like live in New Hampshire, and they come down here for the winter, and they go back up there for the summer. So they do 6 months up there, and they do 6 months down here. And that also works. Let me give you another piece of advice. Just do not have 2 mortgages. If you're going to get a second house, you have a mortgage on your house, pay cash. Or pay off your house and get a mortgage on the second house. But by all means, do not have 2 mortgages. You do. It's a disaster. Don't do that. Talking about like trying to make this monthly nut. Look, like, I wanted to buy a place in Miami, and it's like $2,000 a month in like HOA fees. I'm like, are you serious? Like, I'm really going to do this? I'm going to spend $24,000 a year on HOA fees. I'm going to go down there for like 5 weekends a year. That is definitely not happening. If you second homes, be very careful. I'm Jared Dillian. This is the Jared Dillian Show.